Sandra runs as fast as she can. Behind her, David and 3 men running after her with dogs. David, shouting, "Catch her." Sandra's legs burn, but she pushes forward. Suddenly, flashing lights appear. In a bustling university of learning, lives a beautiful 25-year-old student named Sandra. She share a hostel room with her roommate Jennifer. Sandra standing in front of a mirror, applying makeup while Jennifer, her best friend and roommate, watches with concern. Jennifer sighs, "Sandra, do you even go to class anymore? Every night, it's one party after another." Sandra smiles, "So, what's wrong with that? Life is for enjoyment." Jennifer frowns, "But the way you keep running after these rich men. It's dangerous," Jennifer said. Sandra laughs, "Jennifer, you worry too much, nothing bad will happen to me. These men love me," flagging her hands. Jennifer scream, "Love? Sandra, most of these men only want to use girls like you." Sandra, rolling her eyes, "Use me? Please. They spend money on me. If a man wants to spoil me, why should I say no?" Sandra said. Jennifer shakes her head as Sandra picks up her phone and giggles at a new message. Sandra's past encounters. Sandra has been meeting rich men for over a year now. Each experience only made her bolder. She believed she was in control, but danger was always lurking. Sandra met Felix, a wealthy businessman in his 40s, on social media. He took her to fancy restaurants, showered her with money and expensive gifts. Felix, smiling, "A beautiful girl like you deserves the world." Sandra enjoyed the attention, but after a few weeks, Felix became aggressive, demanding more than she was willing to give. One night, when she refused to go to a private hotel with him, he got angry, talking to her as he shout, saying, "After all I've done for you, you're just like the others, ungrateful." After that encounter, Sandra blocked his number, convinced it was just a bad experience. She moved on to the next man. Chief Bayo, a popular politician, introduced Sandra to a life of luxury, expensive trips, designer clothes, and 5-star hotels. After weeks of seeing Chief Bayo, he kept a serious face, and said to her, "My dear, not all rich men have good intentions. Be careful." Sandra ignored him. She believed she was smart enough to handle herself. Then, she met David. David was different. He was younger, charming, and extremely rich. Unlike the others, he didn't rush her. He took his time, sending long sweet messages, showering her with expensive gifts, and making her feel special. David texted her saying, "My queen, I will give you everything you desire. Just say the word." Sandra was hooked. For the first time, she felt like she had found her perfect man. One evening, David sent her a message that made her heart race with excitement. "Come and see me this weekend, my love. I'll send my driver." Sandra, excited, finally she said to herself. Jennifer, her friend that has been sitting on the side of the bed, was alarmed, and she told Sandra, "Don't go. You've never met this man in person." Sandra laughs, "Jenny, he's rich, handsome, and treats me like a queen. What's the worst that could happen?" Jennifer shakes her head. She told Sandra to be careful, but Sandra doesn't listen. That night, a black SUV with tinted windows arrives. The driver, a cold-faced man, opens the door without speaking, and said, "Madam, enter." Sandra hesitates but convinces herself that rich men have strict security. She gets in. The drive is long, leading to the outskirts of Lagos. The further they go, the more uneasy she becomes. The mansion is grand, but something feels off. It's too quiet, too empty. When Sandra steps inside, she notices there are no servants, no family, just David and his driver. David smiles as he sees her, saying, "Welcome, my love." They sit for dinner, but Sandra notices his eyes are cold, his smile forced. He touches her hand, but she pulls away slightly. "Let's take things slow," Sandra said. David's smile fades. He grips her wrist tightly. "Slow? After all the money I spent on you," David said angrily. Sandra's heart pounds. "I think I should leave," standing up to leave, but he blocks her path, shouting, "You think you can play with me? Since you don't want to play, it's time to pay," he said, smiling. She tried to use her phone to call for help, but he grabs her phone and smashes it. She screams, with her hands shaking, not believing what just happened. David calls in the driver to take her away and lock her up. The driver grabs her, dragging her down the hallway. Sandra is thrown into a dark room. She gasps at what she sees: 10 women in cages, their eyes filled with hopelessness. Woman in cage, whispering, "Another one, you think you are special? don't you? Laughing, David is a businessman. He sells women, and their organs. He said, after locking her up, he walks away still laughing. When she looks around, she saw many women pictures and their names written under it. When she checked closely, her picture is already on the wall, her name beneath it. Sandra's knees go weak as she trembles, realizing she is not just kidnapped, she is about to be sold or killed. Back at the hostel, Jennifer grows worried when Sandra doesn't return her calls. The next day, she rushes to their neighbor for help. The neighbor, a fellow student like her, told her to call the police immediately. They can track her phone, she said. Jennifer dials the police, her hands shaking. Back at the mansion, desperate, Sandra searches the dark room and finds a small pin. She picks the lock and opens the cage slowly, whispering, "Let's go," she told the other women, shaking heads. "No, they will catch us. You run. Get help," one of the women said. Sandra hesitates but then sees an open window. She squeezes through and runs into the forest. Sandra runs as fast as she can. Behind her, David and 3 men, running after her as they release dogs. David kept shouting, "Catch her," as they run. Sandra's legs burn, but she pushes forward. Suddenly, flashing lights appear, police, gunshots echo as the police and kidnappers exchange fire. Sandra falls to the ground, covering her ears. 5 minutes later, the police overpowered them. The chaos ends with 2 kidnappers dead and David captured. Jennifer, running to Sandra, shouting and crying, "Thank God, I thought I lost you." Sandra sobs in her friend's arms, shaking from the terror. Days later, Sandra sits quietly in her room, reflecting on her past. "I was blind, chasing riches without thinking, but never again." She turns to Jennifer, smiling with tears in her eyes, and she said, "Thank you for never giving up on me." Jennifer hugged her and said, "We are friends for life." Sandra later volunteers to warn young women about the dangers of greed and online strangers. She also helps authorities fight human trafficking, determined to prevent others from falling into the same trap. Greed and the desire for quick wealth can lead to dangerous traps. Sandra ignored warnings and chased luxury without considering the risks, almost losing her life in the process. True success comes from patience, wisdom, and making careful choices. Always be cautious of strangers, especially online, and never trade safety for temporary riches.
The end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and click on the subscribe button for more interesting tales.